Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to DavidPlays. My name is David and today I'm going to be talking about the Nintendo NX. You know, this morning I was like, okay, what game should I play today? But I couldn't stop thinking about the Nintendo NX. Because even though we don't play Nintendo games anymore in this channel, not because we don't want to, but because Nintendo doesn't want to, that doesn't mean I'm not a huge Nintendo fan, even though I feel super betrayed by their YouTube policies. I recently bought the new Nintendo DS with the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, and I've been playing it so much and it's so awesome. Nintendo is just so good at making incredible games. And I've always been throughout my whole life a Nintendo guy through and through. In my opinion, Nintendo makes the best games in the world. And yesterday, during a press conference announcing partnership with a mobile game developer to bring Nintendo characters and IP to mobile devices, Nintendo's president, Mr. Iwata, announced that they were working on a brand new dedicated game platform codenamed Nintendo NX. Now, there's a wild speculation about what all this might mean all around the internet. What could it be? What could this Nintendo NX be? Could it be a new mobile console? Probably not, I think, because we just got a new 3DS. It can't be a mobile phone because it's supposed to be a dedicated game console. Could it be a third console that is the bridge between mobile gaming and home console gaming? I mean, maybe, but this wouldn't be the first time Nintendo claims to have a 3-console model. They said the same thing about the Game Boy Advance, the Nintendo DS, and was it the GameCube at the time? I believe it was the GameCube, and that might have been true for like a year, but of course eventually the Nintendo DS actually became the replacement for the Game Boy Advance. So while I'm sure that these 3 consoles will exist alongside each other for a little bit, eventually one will replace one of the other two, and I think that's going to be the Wii U. Everyone knows that the Wii U hasn't been doing so well, and of course it makes sense that Nintendo is working on its successor. It's just a little scary how soon the president of Nintendo has started talking about this dedicated game console with a new concept. It is very scary because the unknown is scary and the night is dark and full of terrors. So having said that, in this video I will be talking about my hopes and dreams for this Nintendo NX, as well as my actual expectations for this next console. First and foremost, I do believe this will be the successor of the Wii U. Even if Nintendo doesn't even call it that at the beginning, I believe this will be a home console that will eventually replace the Nintendo Wii U. So if it's the next generation home console for Nintendo, when will it come out? Well, historically, Nintendo has been releasing new home consoles every 5 to 6 years. The Nintendo Wii U was released on 2012, so at the earliest you would expect a new Nintendo home console on 2017. The thing is, I don't think that's going to happen this time around. For Nintendo's president to mention this new console in March of 2015, like, why would you even do that if you plan to release that console on 2017? Now, Mr. Iwata say we'll learn more about this console next year, but I really doubt that this will be the last time we hear about it this year. There are still 9 months in this year, so I'm pretty sure we'll hear about the Nintendo NX again. We'll learn new actual details about it early next year on 2016 with a full reveal at E3 where we will actually see the console, that controller, and games. And the console would be released on November 2016. These are my predictions. I'm not saying this is actually going to happen. They might actually wait for 2017. I just don't see why you would even mention this console in March if you're planning to wait that long, especially with how the Wii U has been doing lately sales-wise. I think an early release for the next generation console for Nintendo might be justified. Now, if all of this is true and the console is released on November of 2016, that itself has a bunch of very worrying implications, because it's not only 4 years after the Wii U was released, it's 3 years after the Xbox One and the PS4 were released. And that would put this new home console in a very awkward position, right in the middle of the life cycle for the Xbox One and the PS4. What would Nintendo do? Release a home console way more powerful than the Xbox One and the PS4? Or release a console just as powerful as the Xbox One and the PS4? Well, my expectations are that they will release a home console just as powerful as the Xbox One and just as powerful as the PS4. Maybe a little bit more powerful, but not by much. And that way the Xbox One and the PS4 won't be forced to release new home consoles sooner than expected as well, and the 3 home consoles will live happily alongside each other till the next generation. But that would be a little bit of a letdown, to be honest, because that would make the Wii U and the Nintendo NX kind of like half consoles, one for the first half of the generation and the other for the next half of the generation. It would be kind of like Nintendo saying, we were wrong, sorry, we screwed up, here is the actual console for this generation. Now my dream scenario, what I would hope Nintendo would do, and I really doubt they would, and who knows, maybe it's not a good idea at all, but what I would hope to actually see is for them to make an actual next generation console. Not a current generation console, but an actual next generation console made to play games at 4K resolution. I mean, the Xbox One, PS4 sometimes struggle to play games at 1080p. It would make a statement if Nintendo make a console that would actually was made to play games at 4K resolution. I would love to see Nintendo make a console, not for the next 3 years, but potentially for the next 10 years. Now that console would be very expensive at the beginning of its life cycle, maybe wouldn't have a lot of sales, but year after year it would become cheaper to make, and you would have a console that would be able to compete for the next 10 years, even when Xbox and PlayStation release their next consoles. The thing is, Nintendo has kind of been like a generation behind when it comes to power of the console for the past 2 generations. Now the Wii did really good at the beginning thanks to the innovations in its controller, but eventually the other guys started to catch up a little bit. And the Wii wasn't as strong at the end of its life cycle as it was at the beginning. And with the Wii U, we got a console that is as powerful as the last generation consoles again. And sadly, this time the Wii U hasn't been doing great from the very beginning. What do I want from Nintendo's next generation console? I want them to make a statement. Our technology won't be following behind, but leading the way. I would love a user interface that actually appeals to a very broad number of people. You know, I always thought the user interface of the PS3 was a little pretentious, but the user interface of the Wii was a little too kiddie, and Xbox interface is a little too Windows. I think the user interface of the PS4 was a step in the right direction. Maybe Nintendo can make a step in the right direction next time around. It has to be a fast interface. I do not want to wait for 1,000 years for apps to load. I want to be able to watch Netflix, Crunchyroll, download movies on my home console. I want to be able to play online multiplayer games seamlessly, and if they have to charge for an online service, so be it. Just make it good. The touch screen of the Wii U gamepad is just not acceptable in a world where iPhones and iPads exist. Now, obviously, having an iPad as a controller would be way more expensive, but if you're not gonna do it to the standard people are used to, don't do it at all. And most importantly, I want Nintendo to continue to innovate. That's what Nintendo has always been about, innovation. The Xbox Kinect might have not been a thing without the Wii, but the thing about the Xbox Kinect is that it allowed a new way of playing without taking away from a traditional controller. So I challenge Nintendo to continue to innovate without getting in the way of traditional controllers and game developers. It won't be easy, but that is what I challenge them to do. If you look at games like Super Mario 3D World, that is a great game. Would that game be any less great with traditional controllers? I believe not. Skyward Sword was an amazing game, and it is best played with a Wii remote. But if it didn't have the Wii remote, would it be any less great? I think the answer is no. That game would be just as great with traditional controllers. But when you don't have traditional controllers, there is a price you're paying. So you have to ask yourself if that price you're paying is worth the rewards. I would like for Nintendo to innovate, improve the way you play games, and at the same time, not get in the way of the traditional way of playing games. So my wish list, a console technologically chilled for the next 10 years, made to play games in 4K resolution, a good and fast interface, seamless multiplayer online, and innovation that doesn't get in the way. What I actually expect for Nintendo to release next year, it's a game console with the power of current gen consoles, with very kiddie-like interface, hopefully not as slow, but definitely not with seamless online. And it probably won't be the console you want to watch Netflix or buy movies from. It will be a console made to compete with the current gen, and will be replaced when the actual next gen comes. But what do you guys think? There's so much room for speculation at this moment, and I would love to hear your thoughts, so be sure to leave them in the comment section. For now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Be sure to check out the video to my right, subscribe to the channel. Do you want Nintendo to release their console in 2016 or 2017? Would you be interested in their console at all? Be sure to let me know in the comments. But for now, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye!